Welcome everybody to another edition of WCW IX here in TEW 2020 for our last TEW 2020 video. As we do our wrap up here, basically we're doing our mid-year stuff as a thing after the end of August as we're beating the transition over to TEW IX. And as far as the plans for that go, basically, we'll have this video. As far as the channel goes, might be a little slow for the rest of the year because of Christmas, Thanksgiving, all that fun stuff, plus just moving everything over to TEW IX. I'll have some random stuff to do. I'll be honest, I don't know if I'm going to continue the Pittsburgh Steel Wrestling, because honestly, I sort of figured I don't actually want to run Pittsburgh Steel Wrestling. I want to run sort of random sports ed smaller feds. So maybe I'll make up something, or I'll do something with another fed, maybe, I don't know. Regardless of where that goes, maybe throw some short series into TEW IX from other stuff. But regardless, today the plan is, basically we'll go over WCW as an overview, go over the roster, Developmental, go over the other, companies in the world in general, before we do the fun little transition over, and then, that'll be that. So, let's begin. We're in WCW. It is, beginning of September. So let's begin with the big stuff. Our figurehead is still Bill Goldberg. He has been the figurehead for, 3 years, 9 months, fully established in the role. And the thing is, nobody is really, there's Booker, Eddie, and let's see here, Canyon, Kurt Angle, and Ray. But, basically, Goldberg, is basically a little bit more, over than all of them. As our figurehead, product is still basically classic sports set. I probably won't change this in the changeover. Might do a slight shift or something, but, we're basically, we're sports set fed here all in all. And then big creative wise, so top guy is Angle, then Goldberg, then Ray Jr., then RVD, then Eddie Guerrero. So, it is what it is. Obviously, these guys aren't always my top push guys, but they're always getting a role. Goldberg just realistically, in real life, you can just have him squash guys, but that's not entertaining for me. That's entertaining for you, so I'm doing it on TV. Angle's Angle, he'll be getting a big push. He's, only reason he has won the world title is, future booking at the time I had a chance to basically grab him. Ray Jr. is Ray Jr. Again, he's had a short world title run, but, he'll be doing something a little more substantial now that his tag title run's over. RVD's RVD, he'll be back from his injury soon enough. And then Eddie Guerrero is Eddie, obviously past his real life, expiry date, and I'll deal with that maybe in the changeover. Next big things is Angel Fox, Ray LePen, Paul London, Yang, and Cesaro. So yeah, Angel Fox, obviously, she's young. I've pushed her well before. She sort of faded into the women's mid card with the rival of the WCW, rival of the WWF people, plus some of my newer dev people. But she's getting a strong push for the end of the year if she doesn't completely bomb TEW IX. Ray LePen, of course, has been really strongly pushed, much more than real life. He might actually break out of something more than just Adam Rose. Paul London, London is never going to be a top guy because he doesn't have the mic skills, but he can be sort of that fringe main event guy. Yang Zhang, good worker. Cesaro is still young. Hot prospects is Alette Alexander. Yeah, basically she can really build up into a top person. In real life, Chilo Melissa, TNA basically screwed her up by not she was first she said or whatever, and then she was Alyssa Flash for a year maybe, and never really got the push she should have. Lexi James, Mickey James, obviously, real life, Lila Vivez, Nikita Colt, and Ivy Vidal. As you can see, women's division strong. As far as rising people. Men's, not so much. Talk to talk, Canyon, again, Canyon in this world, one reason I've sort of pushed him is he had the, fatal, declining physical ability note, but he didn't get that, but problem, Canyon sort of guys like Owens or Zayn in real life WWE, in that they're really over, but they've sort of done everything. Kanan's had a feud with basically everybody of note. He's been a face, he's been a heel. I have some plans for him long term, and we'll see how that goes. Angles. Flair's still a great talker. RVD's still a great talker. Booker's, the only reason I'm not pushing Booker hard is basically the same thing as Canyon. Plus, he's got injured, a long-term injury, so I'm sort of avoiding that. Showstoppers, Ray, RVD, Angle, Styles, Guerrero. Hey, it's 2006. All these people are great workers. Duh. Ring Generals, again, Ray Jr., Lance Storm, Eddie, Fallen Angel, Kurt Angle. Again, all these guys 2006 does not surprise anybody. Who's not is Macias, Brown, Goldberg, Styles, Guerrero. Again, what do you expect? Who's not is just Flair because, he's a part-time wrestler. Let's see here. Stables. So, Captivation, hasn't had the best time, but we'll get to them as we go over the women's division. European Disunion, solid part. Like, slight deep, not really slight deep push, just Nikita Colt is no longer the number one heel in the company on the women's side. Nikeo is Nikeo. Kaz is out for a couple months, but we'll deal with that when he comes back. The Nest is the Nest. They are what they are. And the Thrillers, of course, are basically our top heel act and our version of, they're just the guys who are on Revolution. Storylines will be all changed over, but, we'll see how they do in the new game. Titles, again, we'll go over this more fully with everybody's roster, but again, our Cruiserweight Champion is Cassidy O'Reilly still. U.S. Heavyweight Champion is Shelton Benjamin. Women's World Champion is Celine Cartier. Women's World Tag Team Champions are Molly Mann, William C. Busick. World Tag Team Champions are O'Hare and Jindrak. And TV Champion is Sonny Siaki. And the World Champion is Monty Brown. Of course, I'll be changing these overall to dates when we move things over to TEW IX. Announcers. Again, Nitro brand, Ross and Lawler. Well, okay, yeah. Nitro is Tenay, Ross and Lawler. Revolution is Figueroa, who's a regen, Savage, and Shivani. And we don't have other TV at the moment. And of course, events, it's usually just whoever's Nitro and Revolution, but for like big events, it's Ross, Shivani, and Lawler. I might change it to Ross, Tenay, Lawler, just depends on how we go. Broadcasting deals, again, some of this stuff will change. So WC Network will still exist, but we'll be basically editing us back on regular TV after that. And yeah, we'll see how we might edit. Honestly, I might edit things lower, just because in real life, they don't have the same things. Events on TV, again, same event schedule. Maybe we'll throw some other stuff on, but it is what it is. Let me see. Is there anything else to show you before we go to the roster? Size. So we're basically stuck at we got up to 91, but we're sort of stuck there because we can't hit those random 95s like the game can, which is not the end of the world. Let's see here. Medical moving over. Booker T is still injured, in work for 6 months. Jeff Hardy's in rehab for another 6 months. Kaz is out for 2 more months. One thing that happened sort of on the undercard is Natty shattered her elbow. So she's out for a year, which means basically we have to figure out an angle to avoid her. And there's also, again, I can just say this now that she's out for a year, is eventually she was going to turn heel on Angel Fox and join up with Celine Cartier as part of our new leading heel stable for the new year. But that's not happening, so it is what it is, unfortunately. And RVD is coming back in a few weeks. Owner goals, these will be new in the new game. So, yeah, Kurt Angle, Judas Messias being pushed, no strikers, no safeties. This will be good to get rid of for my, basically booking jobbers, because I don't have to, find great jobbers anymore. Let's see here. Promises, yeah. These promises didn't make sense, unfortunately. Merch-wise, yeah, Goldberg, Angle, Ray Jr., Canyon. Joni's still really over, so is Jeff. Plumbos, I can just imagine this is all the Thrillers merch. Eddie doesn't actually sell out well. He's also a heel. Trisha, has been sort of hurt. Let's see here. Anything else I need to show you guys? Finance, yeah, we're insanely rich. We have all the money in the world. We can do whatever. Money is not real, even though I try to at least pretend it's real. I might change things so Bischoff either directly owns or figure out something as far as the CEO goes. As far as that goes, of course, our users are different in WCW in TEW IX. So I'll probably edit Piper's Booker stats up, or I'll change over to a new I might make his reputation's booking skill, or I'll throw in what's what I'm looking for here. I'll throw in somebody new as the person, as the booker. Maybe I'll move maybe Johnny Ace's booker or Terry Taylor, or even somebody non-problematic, even though Piper's problematic himself. Talents, those, we had creativity and then everything else is normal, which actually makes sense for Roddy. Because, if you don't know, my explanation for using Roddy way back at the start of the save was that Roddy actually was helped out, booked a lot of his own stuff in Portland, and as, he did his career, and actually, even as he worked in WWF, he basically had a deal with Vince that he could, actually work in Portland at times, and, he, helped book Portland even at, basically in the time period after he left after Mania 3 until he, returned off and on. So, I figure, and plus, he has a decent mind, I guess, for the business. But yeah, so I mean that's sort of like the overview. 100 prestige, 88% momentum. We're doing well. Only thing is the battles. So this isn't something I want to show you guys real quick before we move over, because I think it changes in the new game. As far as area battles, so you see here we're down by 5 points. So Austin, Lesnar, Michaels, Jericho, show. I might honestly end Austin's contract with WWE and just have him out of the business for a while, just so it's a little more fair. Then we have Goldberg, Angle, Ray Jr., Kane, and Keebler. And that's funny, it's Keebler. Ironically, New Japan is only around because of Hall. National probably are booking with Liger. In Canada, they lead by a whole lot more. I might fix our TV deal there. Mexico, we're actually leading because AAA is the best, and they have Garza, Connect, Pero, Cyberneco, and Voller Jr. We're only down. We're actually up by a point because they just have they're slightly worse off. British Isles, they lead by 4, unfortunately. Palumbo's ironically over more there because he's been pushed there. Japan, we actually are 5 points behind WWE. New Japan has Inoki, Muto, Chono, and Sakuraba. And then Europe we're down by 3. Oceania's we're down by 4. So we're close, but in sort of the actual monthly battles, we actually we're basically tying them, but they win by I think probably by I don't know how they figure it out. So we're actually having better shows, but they're their star power helps them out, which is realistic. So now we're going to go over the roster again. We'll go over basically main stars, major stars, recognizable, all that fun stuff. So let's get rolling. So reset, and then we're going to do just males, and then we're going to do disposition, brand, no, not brand. Hold on, perception. There we go. Major stars. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 major stars, which is quite the accomplishment. I think the only I think we were beating WWE by quite a bit. This they have the top super top guys, but as you sort of saw when I was booking SummerSlam, after their top 8 or 9 people, they're just the bottom falls out because of just how the AI books. But anyway, let's get rolling. Okay, so AJ Styles, of course, you're the place, the face that runs this place, building our top face. So one thing I will do is I'll probably take the opportunity to redo AJ's gimmick, because unfortunately it's a poor gimmick, not the end of the world. But popularity-wise, he's hit, basically, I think he sort of, hit his in-game cap, unfortunately. But again, that's something else that'll be good for the game, is new caps for everybody, hopefully. Skill-wise, he's actually probably better than he was in real life at this time. 8177 charisma microphone is a lot better. Star quality, honestly, sounds fair, because, I mean, maybe a little higher, but, it is what it is. In-ring, he's a god. Psych-wise, 85. I mean, honestly, he's probably better in-game than he was in real life at this point. Match-wise, of course... Oops. Let me pull this up again. He won the title. He had his defenses against O'Hare, Jarrett, Wright, Van Dam, the Guerrero AJ match, which set up, the 3-way, the Kaz match, and then the match he dropped title Monty was part of the Mayhem tournament. Was in the 4-way finals, and so moving on. Obviously, we're doing a little mini feud with Cash, and then we'll see what he does for the rest of the year. Alex Wright, one of my honestly best projects. Also, he's with Joey Lawler now, which is interesting. But as you can see, popularity wise, he's probably hit his cap. 85 is probably his cap. Because skill wise, he's not terrible in the ring, but he's not actually that good. Basically, he's meant at everything, but he does everything very flashy, which sort of makes sense. He is a very commentator tells him good technical wrestler. He's not actually that great, but he has decent psych. He's well booked, not actually that great, which again makes sense. Match wise, 13-7 again. Unfortunately, I'm sort of a 50-50 booking person, in the long run. Especially with I don't care about TV losses, which I probably should, especially tag matches. But getting to the big stuff, we have the Wright Goldberg feud. Goldberg defeating Wright by DQ, Wright, beating Goldberg by stoppage, a big, sort of FU to Goldberg moment, AJ beating Wright, then the big blow off with Goldberg, so that was basically the first half of the year. Then, his feud with Kane Anderson, basically it's been two big feuds. His feud with Goldberg and his feud with Kane Anderson, and we'll see how he ends up at the end of the year. Long term, we're already way past his real life, basically retirement. So we'll see, what he does for the rest of his career. He's a long-term guy. AJ is also a long-term guy. He still has 2 years left. And I expect I will be paying out the ass for him once his contract is up. Goldberg's still stupidly over. Just stupidly over. Skills-wise, it's Goldberg. This is probably giving him a little too much credit. But, big thing, Cleveland 91, Star Quality 99, Minutes 93, and he's not terrible with a 74 psych. Match-wise, basically he's sort of, over it. Again, I'm sort of used not as a special attraction, but, basically somewhere between, real part-time guys, in real life, Lesnar or Taker, but not, an every week guy. We had the Wright Goldberg feud at the beginning of the year. That blew off. We had the Eddie feud, which moved to the Billy Ray feud, and we'll see where Goldberg goes from here. I know, but, Bully Ray, of course, I would say one of my success stories. Because, he's probably, more pushed by me than his ring overness is, because 81's probably his pop cap. And skill-wise, he's, Brawling 83, that's kind of realistic. Hardcore 76, if I did hardcore, that would matter. More psyched than he probably is in real life. Charisma microphone, people will depend on that. Star Quality's about right, Menace is right, but, Basics is really good. And, we'll see how he does as far as that goes. Match-wise, again, everybody gets booked 50-50, unfortunately, at the main event level, because I don't throw, just random ones for people, for the most part. But, we had the early Brother Ray Eddie Guerrero feud, which built to the Nest feud, which then built to the, Brother Ray heel turn, which then built to the, Brother Ray Truth feud, which then built to the Goldberg Brother Ray feud. Everything sort of boom, 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 boom. Rest of the year, he had his moment with his Goldberg feud. We'll see what he does for the rest of the year. He should be sort of a upper mid-card level heel for the rest of the time. He has 10 months leaving, and he might be somebody who, I'll see, if Impact can sign him maybe, or we'll see if WWE wants him back, because this might be, the best he can do. I do have one idea for him, and if that works, or if it gets hot enough in TEW IX, we'll do it, and we'll see how that goes. Palumbo, honestly, pop-wise, again, stupidly over. And then, this is despite, again, a good brawler, he's not, he has good star quality, good menace, decent psychology, and that's it. This is just me getting somebody over by pushing him. And he has, really good matches with people, and he's actually had a bad year as far as, actually in-ring matches. He's gone under 500. He had a little mini feud with Macias to start the year that built to the Canyon Palumbo match. Then we had Palumbo Angle, then Palumbo Canyon returned, then, built to sort of back and forth, and the blow off as far as the main tournament, and we'll see how the rest of the year goes for the thrillers. But he's a leader of thrillers. He's basically, I don't say with a top heel, and he has 4 months on his contract, which means, that end of the year, I fully expect WWE to try to steal him. Eddie. Eddie's a big thing. So again, stupidly over. Obviously past his real life death date, which I've explained before. If we look at his personal info, or what is it? Is it personnel? No. Oh, right, yeah. He doesn't have the bad stats, which was probably the fault of the original mod maker. But I've continued this, and I might throw in a former steroid user stuff for past him, and maybe a former drug user to see how that goes. But also in this version of reality, he never had the car crash, So again, this all just like depends on what I'll figure out. Like I'll double check the timeline just to see how bad he was. Maybe yeah. But anyway, regardless, pop wise, he's been like really over. Match wise, or yeah, sorry, skill wise. Again, he never turned into top level Eddie. And even like in game, his stats of his technical aerial and everything else is meh, which honestly kind of fair because the rest is psych, basics, charisma 81, my charisma 67 is probably the worst thing, but I'll take it because acting is 76, and you can sort of argue his acting was actually better than his mic skills, and he got off on his charisma and his star quality, especially like Latino Heat Guru. But yeah, again, he has what is it? Hold on. He has another like almost year left on his contract, and like again, we'll just see how it goes with him. Jarrett. I mean, just one of those guys. Again, he wasn't a part of the creative meeting, so I didn't mention him, but he's the guy, one of the guys along with Booker and Canyon, who I totally understand when there's people say there's nothing to do with you. When they say writing the creative has nothing to do for you, even though to be fair, I have like a smaller roster and I'm just one name with idea as opposed to a whole writing team. But like Jarrett, he's a bastard heel. Like, there's not that much you can do with him. Like, I realize in real life now he's doing the sympathetic turn, but you can't do that in 2006 because he's still, asshole Jeff Jarrett. So I'm doing this sort of like, I'm an asshole, but I'm also traditional thing with him, and we'll see if this actually works for him. Popeyes, still just stupidly over. Like, he's never not been stupidly over. And skill-wise, he's a good brawler, man on everything else, but, bet insane mic skills, decent star quality, all this stuff. Match-wise, he's been limited. Like, he's been a talking guy. I wrote him off with the 6-man back in June. Before that, he was doing, the top of the card stuff, slid down to do the stuff with Divine, then, everything else. I honestly just had him do some jobs just to see if he was okay with it. And, that is what it is. We'll see, basically, if this run against Chosen Few works. But he can always turn back heel being Jeff Jarrett. Canyon. And yeah, he has another 2 years, and he's just one of those guys who's probably going to be around forever, or at least till I'm finished with the save. So, Canyon. I mean, he's Canyon. Again, much better, than real life, where I think we're getting close to when he, himself in real life. So, much better as far as that goes. Of course, stupidly over. Continue to be stupidly over since I started pushing him, so we'll see how that goes. Skill-wise, yeah, he is declining. We'll see if that continues. But yeah, good brawler, good hardcore, and everything else. But great charisma, great mic skills, 100 mic skills. Jesus Christ. And then match history, of course. I wrote him off for a while, but also, he did the job to Monty, sort of built him up. He was part of the, mini feud that built to the 6-man. And then we had Katie and O'Hare as the Thriller started, really getting their big push. Then we had the sort of right off after getting beat down, the feud with Don Fry came back after Fry recovered from his injury, and then we had the world title match. And then maybe we'll go back to Palumbo, or we'll see from there. Kaz is the other guy who's gotten a stupid. Oh yeah, and he's also has about 9 months left. We'll see if WWE comes calling for him. Well, that might be actually something we let him go just to see what he does in the Fed, if also depending on who he signs. Kaz, again, one of the people I've really pushed, especially the last year. As you can see, from basically November on, the really strong push. And skills-wise, I'm probably going to take his loyalty to All Japan off. He's, 74 Impero, 84 Aerial, 92 in Flashiness, 85 Psych. Everything else is meh, but he doesn't have to be that because, he has Stacy as his manager, and it's what it is. Match history, of course, started as part of KO. They had their rematch for the tag team titles. They lost those. Had the little mini feud leading to the Aerial Assault 2. 88. Then Kaz got his singles pushed, which included the world title match and the, Mayhem tournament final. And that was that. Like, nothing too fancy. And then he got injured during that match, and we'll see what he does. And again, I think I already said this during a past video, but he was supposed to be... Oh, actually, that still might be a spoiler, so I'm not going to say it. Keenan Sharp, somebody who... Oh, yeah, and he has... Yeah, basically 2 years left. Keenan Sharp. Of course, the real-life Corey Graves, strangely me at the time. I came up with this gimmick for him, and he actually got strongly pushed. So here we are. Pop-wise, he's actually sort of been where he is for a while. He got a strong push mainly because he had overdid his popularity when I brought him up, so he just kept getting pushed, which is a good way to get pushed, is overdo your popularity, because I like that. Skill-wise, good aerial, ironically. Everything else, he doesn't even have that great skills. He just has a really good character. And yeah, he is what he is. We'll see how he does, in real life. He had sort of a weird year because he was never really that strongly pushed. He had his his US title match. Then I had him sort of a quasi mini feud with Jeff Hardy. Then he went away. I had a random team up match that disappeared. We're doing this this feud with Booker T, and we'll just see where that goes. The issue here is I can't really do a stable here because I already have a strong stable on Revolution, but also there's what do I do for the rest of the year? We'll see. Ken Anderson, again, one of the people who I'm really strongly pushing. Pop wise, started at 80. Ben basically where he is now. Might reach his pop cap in game, not 100% sure. Skills wise, he's a good brawler. Decent psych, good charisma, good mic. You can sort of argue his charisma mic stats are actually below where they should be at this point. But it is what it is. Below that, we got, Anderson Aries, Anderson Toro, really strong push at the start. But again, everybody eventually becomes a 50-50 booking with me. It is a problem, but also everybody can get over, basically. And for the rest of the year, obviously, the Anderson Wright feud will have a blow-off soon, and then after that, we'll see what happens. Kurt Angle, of course, was signed for me at the start of the year to a 4-year contract. He's our highest paid guy. He's Kurt fucking Angle, What else can I say? Still stupidly over. This is not Perk Angle, even though I'm tempted. Maybe. But yeah, just 97 technical, 81 flashiness, 87 Purisu, 92 charisma. Yeah, obviously, there's a world where I had him come in and win the, beat, have, I know what some people would have done. They would have brought Angle as a heel, done Styles Angle as the beginning feud, and probably even give Angle the title. And that's fine. That's, I like the storylines. So, again, he debuted, beat Shane Helms in his debut, had the little mini feud, but then the long basically feud since, the spring has been with the Thrillers, leading to the Angle Palumbo blow off, quote unquote, and then we'll see what he does after this. Monty Brown, our world champion. Again, probably reaches pop cap, so we'll see if he can break through it in the new game. Skill-wise, he's Monty Brown. He probably has a higher psych than, will in real life. Charisma is good. Microphone, honestly, that's kind of fair. Everything else, he's a character guy more than a, stats guy. Match history, he's Monty. So he's, hey, the guy hasn't been given a 50-50 booking. So yeah, beat Canyon, beat Jack Evans, continue to kill people, the Little Messias feud, won the Sansei Death match, won the world title, and here we are. Still 2.5 years, so, still will be a strong guy. The only thing is, he is getting older, so if we get the, dreaded kind of physical ability, that might change things, but we'll see how things go. Ray Jr., the guy. What else can I say? Also, yeah, he's now lightweight, so, this is ironically probably actually, bulked up steroid out angle. I mean, still the guy here, 90s. He did a couple jobs right here, which popularity, but then he won the tag titles, so he's right back up. And he's, great. I mean, just forget a look at 89, 93, 99 still. 90, 100, 87 star quality. Yeah. Again, I know a lot of people would have already given him a long world title reign, but I am trying to be somewhat realistic to what people in the early to mid 2000s would see him as. And also, he works fine in the spot I have him, Match history-wise, of course, came in, was still, 2005, had the already Ray Jr. feud, then had the little mini feud with Noble at the start of the year, eventually moved to the Matt Sydal Ray Jr. team, won the tag titles, and they just lost them to the Thrillers, and sort of their Ray Jr. is back on Revolution, and we'll see what he does on Revolution on his own. RVD, the man who could have been the Man Tournament winner if he would have, not gotten injured, which is probably my fault. So yeah, I mean, pop-wise, still stupidly over. Probably less over than I'm pushing him, but also less over than he probably would be. Contract only up for 4 months, and he will be getting quite the pay rise because he's way underpaid right now. Skill-wise, great bowler, probably better than you'd think. Great hardcore, good aerial, good psych. Honestly, microphone is probably higher than it should be. Good star quality. Acting, match history-wise, he had the little mini feud with Evans, was part of the, number one contender scene, had the feud with, got involved in the Euro AJ feud, then, sort of, had started up the feud with Macias, and then got injured. So, he'll be back in a couple weeks, and we'll see where he goes from there. Then, the Fallen Angel, of course, probably the guy with the, again, most people I know just book him as banger matches guy. So what did I do? Have him be off TV for 6 months. I am who I am. But yeah, basically, didn't kneel to Macias and Morningstar. Came back as Fallen Angel. Pop-wise, was an 83, still an 83, might have reached his pop cap. Skill-wise, still some room to build, but will be probably a pretty big guy since he's only, he is 36. I keep forgetting that Daniels was already kind of old at the start of the indie boom. But yeah, I mean, again, most rest of the year, you can sort of guess what he's going to be doing. But yeah, so those are our main event guys. And I'm seeing this is probably going to be a situation where I do this as a two-part video. But let's move on to our stars. All right, Kidman, of course, former world champion. Didn't have the best year, dropped about 5 points. Still, stupidly good. Again, got strongly pushed as a top heel, even though his stats really didn't give him it. Really good still in ring. Honestly, there's an argument to turn him back to a babyface, but I'm having fun as sort of dick heel Kidman. I mean, honestly, the kind of guy that can get 2001 Kurt Wilson is probably kind of a dick. I mean, that's just me, my, own tendencies. But yeah, I mean, a perfectly 500 year. Again, was sort of our upper mid-card heel guy. Eventually, started teamed with Shane Helms as legendary. Even though they're not a team in game, which I'll have to fix during the turnover. Had their, run at the tag titles. And now we'll see what they do in the aftermath. Yeah, he still has 9 months left. He's somebody who, if Impact comes biting around, I might let leave just to see what he does. Booker, again, Booker's one of those guys who, still is, stupidly over. He's been really hurt the last couple of months because I've actually been dropping him. But I'm sure if, I give him, a couple wins and some TV time, he'd be up to, 85 soon. Still has red hot momentum. And skill-wise, this is the problem. this is the problem. Psych-wise, like, he's still great. Like, these are fair stats for 2006 Booker T. 9 months remaining. So again, he's somebody else who I might let leave if he gets a bite at the apple from WE or Impact or even somebody else. Because again, I like him, I enjoy his character, but I don't know what to do with him. Bischoff, of course, is our Nitro general manager, at least for the rest of the year. He is our CEO in game, will continue to be, and he's Eric Bischoff. He has still good stats, and that's about it. I enjoy having his sort of manipulative, not a heel, but also not a babyface, all ratings guys, Jack Evans, another, again, one of my success stories. Stupidly over for Jack Evans. Has actually had a worse year as he's dropped off some. Skill-wise, again, stupid, 90, 93. Of course, no charisma, no microphone. But, again, he has 43 star quality, but he's still stupidly over. So, I don't know. Match history, again, he's actually had a bad year. The problem is, he's the perfect guy to get his ass kicked by the Thrillers all year, and that's what happened to him. I have some plans for him for the rest of the year, along with Paul London, which should help him out, but we'll see as far as that goes. He has a year remaining. He'll get a big bump of pay when that happens, and we'll see. Just realistically, WWE shouldn't go after him because he's a perfect WCW guy. We'll see how that goes. James Storm is here. Chris Harris is not. Maybe that should tell you some things. Pop-wise, of course, where they've been all year. Again, this is one thing, that's sort of this year, is everybody is kind of in the same spots they were at the beginning of the year. Which, you can fault me for or not. Skill-wise, the one thing sort of damning him here is why he's not getting, I'm not breaking MW quite yet. Okay, so, behind the booking doors time, originally, I was going to, they're the number one contenders. This was going to be, they lose, they break up, they have a feud till Starrcade. But the problem is, there was a Starrcade card, and I'm not sure either of these guys are ready for this yet. And plus, I need a strong tag team, sort of as the core of my tag division, because, Hardy's, Jeff is on rehab, Nikeo, is the new version of Nikeo, plus now Kaz is out, and obviously, the other stalwarts of the tag division are now gone, and we're building people up like Evolution, the new Nikeo, and we're doing things like having Legendary pushed, and we'll see, if new tag teams come up, and we'll just see what happens there. But yeah, he's still, he's a good brawler, he's building up psychology, everything else, is a thing here. Match wise, obviously, mostly tags, 50-50 booking, it is what it is. Probably could have been pushed better, is what it is. Noble, a guy who, ironically, isn't sort of the meme he became in real life, but is probably having a better career. Is that fair? I think that's fair. Pop-wise, and again, match history, same lot, again, a lot of people basically 50-50 booking. Jeff Hardy, the guy who gets freaking 95s when he's in singles matches, but also every time I drug test him, is so stupidly on drugs. So he's in rehab for 6 more months. We'll see how that goes. Again, pop-wise, okay, again, I think I told people this before, but again, behind the booking door, if Hardy would have came back from his suspension clean, he was going to be part of the main event plans of Starrcade. That's all I'm going to say. And now there are different plans. That's all I'm going to say. Match history-wise, he's been around. The feud with the Hardy, the feud with Jet Set, I put the Jet Set over him, even though eventually Easy Money left. Basically, not a good year, but also I was worried about him, popping for drugs. So that's why he got the push he got. Macias, again, one of my, wacky people who the real, the inner of this life either really loves or hates. 79, a little under what he probably should be. Skill-wise, he's a good brawler, good psych, good charisma, not just that good menace, which is why I've sort of like turned him into like more of a character than just a mean guy. Match history-wise, not that many matches, but he's one of the guys, along with Goldberg and Monty Brown, who's not actually getting like 50-50 booking. When he shows up, he kills people, and maybe he loses to a big guy, but Mark Jindrak, half the World Tag Team Champions. Oh yeah, some people's contracts I didn't go over. Storm sells 2 years, Noble has 2 years, Hardy has 10 months, so he might be off to Impact Land. Macias sells 3 years, Jindrak has 2 years, so yeah. Pop-wise, he's always been more over than I push him, just because, for a long time he was with the Chosen Few, of course. Then I moved over to Thrillers after the draft, and it's been what it is. Match history-wise, he's been with the Thrillers, and that's what the Thrillers been doing. Paul London, of course, is another one of the people I've really strongly pushed in game. In that low 70s, high 80s push. Both him and Evans have lost some popularity as I put the the 1%ers over him. But still, strong year, U.S. title at the start of the year. Basically the first half of the first part of the year was all the U.S. title feud. Then sort of the London Evans larger Thriller feud was the rest of the year. And yeah, he has 3 years left, so he'll be around for a while unless he gets pissed at me and quits or sets out his contract. Raven, somebody else who would probably totally pop for drugs. I mean, maybe not, but again, brought him in at the start of the year. Stupidly over. Or was it start of the year? I think. Yeah, because I took him for 2 year right. No, he started at the start of last year. Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. The next. Right. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he's like one of our better heels. Obviously. It's interesting. He's here as a star, but not major star. That's probably like part of his booking, his gimmick. I forget all it goes into it. But yeah, skill wise, hardcore. That's about it. And everything else, psych, charisma, microphone, all that good stuff. Match wise, of course, he's mostly a promo guy at this point. So he's only had somebody else who's knocking the 50-50 booking as we push him towards the feud with the Fallen Angel. Ray LePen, another one of my success stories. Still 4 months remaining. Well, he'll get a big old advantage, and honestly, he's somebody who WWE might come pick up just because of his skills. Skills wise, good brawler. Really a much better wrestler than he was in real life. Good charisma. We'll see how everything else goes. Yeah, I mean, pop-wise, I think I've, built him up from, a 56, and now he's, a solid upper mid-carder. Match history-wise, of course, Stardom Revolution, somebody who I built up, and then, he won the U.S. title, and now he's been, losing some main eventers, beating some upper mid-card main eventers as we build him up. And, yeah. Sean O'Haire, poor Sean O'Haire, former world champion, guy who I might have actually given a stronger push to, but I'm 95% sure he's really has some sort of really bad drug issue that I'm not going to test him for, because he is 35, he's not declining physical ability, and okay, his skill drops have stopped, so that's interesting. Maybe he got off the drugs. That's actually interesting. Okay. That is interesting. Okay, so maybe he saved his career. Ooh, this star quality drop. I don't know what that's about. Same with sex appeal. Oh, because maybe... Regardless, match history-wise, since he came over, of course, he was feuding with the Thrillers for a time. Got the world title match as a babyface, turned heel. Now as part of the Thrillers, now the World Tag Team Champions. Nothing fancy here. He's not strong pushed. Shelton Benjamin, another guy who I've brought in and strongly pushed since he showed up. Won the tag titles at Starrcade, had that tag title run, and now having the US title run. Still 3 more years. Oh, here's another 2 years. Skill wise, well rounded compared to everybody else, or outside of guys like Angle, and yeah. Uh, so yeah, nothing fancy here. Just legitimate athlete, legendary gimmick, which is probably helping him. All that fun stuff. The Truth, who I've given a strong push to, always sort of like overdoes his like overness, or is more over than you think. Been at 85 at points. A little bit worse now because I've done some jobs to him. But skill-wise, he's a good brawler. But look at that charisma. Look at that lovely charisma. Everything else is solid. Good star quality. And yeah, I mean, match history-wise, was sort of in the feud with Anderson, which built to the feud with The Nest. Eventually built to the feud with Brother Ray. Little mini feud with Kaz. I didn't realize I dropped into Kaz like 2 months apart. That's on me. So yeah. The future, well, blow off with Bully Ray possibly, and then from there, who knows? Then the last guy who's sort of a surprise as a star is Titus Tomko, who is probably here just because of the the strong push I've given him. Weirdly over in the Southeast, probably still a result of his time in our Dev Fed, but yeah, since I brought him up, really strong. Still 4 months remaining, so he'll probably get a big bump, or he'll get sort of like chased after by Impact, and we'll see what he does there. Let's see here. Skill-wise, very meh as far as that goes. He's his menace, his star quality, and that's about it, really. Match history-wise, again, actually a guy who does some jobs, but can just get back over with a menace promo. Yeah, I mean, probably his peak is the U.S. title match against London and The Truth, which was a 90, and, the big match with Goldberg on Nitro, and this fun stuff recently with AMW. So yeah, those are our stars. So let's move forward. 2. Well-knowns. Cash is one of those guys who's sort of stuck in the middle, because he's better than he should be, but he's not great. So he sort of is stuck where he is. Solidly over, but, and even his stats, he has really good flashy stats and really good psych stats, but nothing else. Which means, he had his run with the Jet Set, but then sort of has become a, basically our jobber to the top guys. Chris Harris, I've gone over, James Storm, so his actual, year, he's slightly less over. We can totally compare him to. So, James Storm. Alright, so. Basically, Storm is a little worse in everything. Which, I mean, Harris is a little worse than everything, which is probably why he's not going to get the push. But we'll see. Who knows? Don Fry, one of those guys who I saw was really over in the US, and then I had no ideas for. I'll be honest here. Don Fry is lucky that Candy came back from injury and he was injured. Otherwise, he might not even be on TV right now. Popeyes, he's so stupidly over. He should not be this over. Skill wise, again, he's Don Fry. He's good at one thing: looking scary and being kind of charismatic. Match history wise, he was injured, so he came back. He had his match with Canyon, and we'll see what he does. And now he's going to have his match with Macias, and we'll see what he does after that. Spoilers. I will give people 10 seconds to then move forward about a minute. So, yeah, I signed Kane. He was available. I have a gimmick for him. You'll see soon enough. That's all I'm going to say. He's not quite over. But yeah, everything will be revealed soon enough. Okay, moving forward. I'll go over both. Oh, Havoc's a little more over than Dice here. Mainly because he's actually, the thing about Havoc is he's actually has developed into a decent worker that I could probably push on his own if I wanted to. He's not great, but he's good charisma, he has good menace, and honestly, he's kind of over, and, he's one of those, he's gotten, so if we take out off the pre-show wins, they are a they've had, basically a couple matches on TV, and they've looked tough in the background, which is what his, pop looks like since the start of the year. This is how well you can do, which, again, some people don't like basically the cheat of having people who aren't over in the background getting overness from being around, but, I think it's fair in the new game. Jeremy Borash is one of our announcers. His announcing skill is actually not that great, which is fair. But, in kayfabe, what I'm saying is, well, A, he's our website guy, and B, he also works, basically pre-shows, announcing as well. Jim Ross, of course, we signed him at the start of this year. And, he's good old JR. He's still great. He'll still be great for, basically another 5 years or so, and probably longer in game. He's Jim Ross. What else do you want me to say? Lance Storm, another guy who some people would be pushing more, some people would be pushing less. He had his really strong push last year as part of the Triumvirate, and this year has been, because the thing is, he's still, stupidly good in ring. But this year has been the jobbing year. He has, if not Titus Tomko. Oh god, I'm forgetting who I just said was sort of a jobber to my stars. But yeah, if I want a competitive match to put over one of my heels, Lance Storm has been that guy this year. And that's about it. Rest of the year, we'll see. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, right. Forgot to go over. Okay, so Cash, he has still 2 more years, so he'll be around for a while. Fry has 4 months, so honestly, I might let him go at the end of his contract if I don't have any ideas for him. Let's see here. Borash is around 2 more years. We signed Borash to a long-term contract. Lance Storm has another year or so. Now Matt Hardy, who has had an interesting run here in WCW. Obviously, he showed up with his brother, back up as his brother. But now with his brother gone, we've moved to a sort of a singles thing. Pop-wise, he's basically where he's been. Big swings, because I use him to job. He's, there's a certain character we can maybe bring in sooner than real life, if I want to do that. Match history-wise, of course, you sort of see the moment where Hardy got popped, because the little feud with Siaki. We'll see how that goes in the new game. Mike Tenay, great announcer, will be around here as long as I, because hopefully in this first reality, he has not turned into sort of the parody he was in TNA by the end. Paul Heyman, of course, one of our big signings. I think it was, about a year ago. Came RVD's manager after his heel, as part of his heel turn. He's Paul Heyman, Paul Heyman guy, all that good stuff. He'll never be a wise man. He'll never be, the advocate. He'll never be form the bloodline. Hope maybe in this reality. Randy Savage, weird thing where he became a color guy. He's actually a solid color guy. 4 months left. He was a manager for Don Fry. I sort of dropped that. But I don't know. There's sort of a weird idea I have for him involving the women. Don't worry, it's not bad. But also real life stuff, so it's very, very touchy. Also, this Savage is not getting in a car wreck in a couple years, hopefully. And so, we'll just have to see where that goes. But he's still Charisma 87, Micro 79 still, and also still stupidly over. So, Red Rum. Probably the weirdest. The weirdest run I've had. He was Johnny Samboli, he became Jonathan Toro, but then he had terrible luck as far as chemistry with people, and sort of didn't do the thing I wanted, so I turned him into, remember in real life, he eventually became Relic, which is Killer spelled backwards, so now he's Red Room, which is Murder spelled backwards. Same gimmick, slightly different. Pop-wise, still decently over, actually has gotten strongly pushed, so he's decently over. Skills, very meh. Good psychology, good menace, which is why he's probably doing decent in Red Rum. Match history-wise, you sort of see the moment where I turned into Red Rum. Flair, he's still Ric fucking Flair. Manager of Evolution, had the win match this year, still a 93 charisma, still 88 microphone, still stupidly over. Still Ric Flair. Piper, of course, I think the last time I had brought Piper out was I think the end of last year. So because he says he has good stats, but I don't want to turn him the guy who shows up on TV. And also, okay, one thing here is this is the time period when Roddy Piper went from slightly goofy motor mouth type of guy to, oh my god, what is Roddy going to see on TV type of guy. And I don't know if I want to build that into real life and have him lose his job here, or maybe in this version reality where he was sort of the booker who helped WCW out of the storm. He's better, so who knows. Shane Helms, the guy. Great Prima Donna gimmick. Popularity-wise, sort of a bad year for him. He was never as over as I pushed him, even as world champion. I think the highest he got was 81, 82. Skill-wise, honestly, good, but not not a lot of blue here. Flashiness, basic stats, but that's about it. Match history-wise, again, very 500 a year. And I think what I'm going to, I have an idea for him for next year, and you'll see what it is. Sting, that guy, retired, no matches, was basically retired by the end of last year, came back to help out Fallen Angel, and will be part of the rest of the year for storylines, and we'll see how things go from there. I mean, again, real life Sting is probably better than all these, as far as stats go, but it can't account for becomes weirdly great big spot hardcore worker at 60. Tank Tolan, somebody who's been more strongly pushed by me than he was in real life, actually stupidly over now for his skills and stats in real life, sort of push. Match history wise, good year. Basically I wanted to build him up and I didn't want to drop him, so here he is. Teddy Long, player. Revolution General Manager, and who knows what else he'll do. He's steady. What can I say? And then Yang, who sort of is the surprising guy, but he was with Cass for most of the year. So that's how he helped with the pop. Yeah, I mean, from basically 53 at the start of the year to now at the 70s, and now he gets to help push Kenzo up to be a mid-card to upper mid-card guy. Yeah, I mean, basically his story is the story of Kaz, and then now a story with Kenzo. So strong year, despite not winning the tag belts. So that is our well-known people. So let's move on to, I think it's Recognizable next, right? Yeah. All right. So these are a lot of guys, and as you noticed, as we go down the card, I've said less about people because that's sort of how it is. Arn's our backstage guy. He has no on-screen role really. He's, one of our best road agents. It is what it is. Blasher Lashley, getting the very slow push up. By this time in real life, he was a top guy. Unfortunately, TW doesn't really work like that unless you really push somebody. And yeah, I mean, he's not quite there as far as skills, though. Probably worse than he was in real life. Sort of looking at things, yeah. Star quality's still there, Menace is still there. Everything else is sort of meh. But by 2006 in real life, he was a solid wrestler, not quite sort of the great guy he was later on. He was one of those people who's helped out by now that you can be a 45-year-old wrestler and still a top guy, Honestly, bad year. Evolution was one of those people, along with was one of those groups that got caught in the shuffle for me. Cesaro, same thing. He is stupidly over in the Southeast due to the words dev territory stuff. And of course, he's Cesaro, so he's good. But he's had sort of the same year as Lashley's had. So I feel bad that they sort of became my designated mid-card babyface jobbers. But hopefully next new year they'll have something new around. Dice is just a worse version of Havoc. I've gone over him. Here you go. Dusty, again, he's in the universe of this world. He is our he is one of our top creative guys. Basically in charge of Revolution, and is what it is. Lawler, of course, was signed by us. Oh, right. I keep on forgetting to go over people's contracts. Let me go back to well-known. When did I forget to do that? Let's see here. He still has 3 years. Savage still has 4 months. So he's somebody who I might let go just sort of like change things up. Red Rum, somebody who's I'm pushing, he'll keep around. Flair is going to be a WCW guy forever, hopefully. Helms, it'll be interesting to see where he goes. Sting, again, lifetime. I might just like force an extension on his contract. Toland, about a year or so. Teddy, again, Yang, somebody else who we'll see what happens when it's contract time for him. Recognizable folks. Arn, I'm gonna keep him around forever as long as Flair's around. Blasher Lashley, we'll see where he is in 2 years. Like maybe WWE wants him. Okay, that's where we are. And then we'll just go on Claudio. 4 months remaining, so we'll re-sign him for a bigger contract. Same with Dice. Anyway, Cassie O'Reilly, one of the people we signed for a dev contract, threw him on TV. He got better than I expected. And Popwise is a lot more over than I expected, so he's been building up, on TV. But just as a little check, like, again, I know I mentioned this when I was, like, building him up, but, like, he was the National Heavyweight Champion and the NWA World Heavyweight Champion at the same time. Obviously, not quite the same thing as in, like, say, 1984, but still even a pretty good thing in this reality. But since he, debuted, I have to do just WCW. Solid stuff, being pushed well, Cruiserweight Champion, we'll see how long he keeps it. Skill-wise, he's not actually that great an in-ring guy, and even a charisma guy, he's a character guy. Charles Robinson, one of our refs, yay. Chavo, great stats as you can see, unfortunately is sitting out his contract. What I'm going to do with him and Teddy Hart is I'm going to roll a dice when we turn over TEW IX to see if they come back. And we'll base it on how long they have left, how long they've set out, and all that good stuff. Like Chavo, I might make it a 50-50 shot. Teddy Hart's going to be like a 1 in 10 shot. Right. Dusty is going to be kept around forever. Maybe we'll move him down to to when we create NXT at some point. Jerry Lawler, we'll see. Like, the problem with Jerry is he's the best commentator in the game as far as color goes by far. Only other thing might be if, like, the color stat for, like, non-wrestlers, so we'll figure out that. Jimmy Rave, one of the new cruiserweights, really good flashiness psychology. Still has, a little under a year. Match-wise, I keep on forgetting to, he debuted in April, has gotten a pretty decent push as a cruiserweight. Pop-wise, since debuting, not quite like a huge push, but he's getting more over slowly. Kai Graves, okay. So here's the thing. He's one of the people who I brought up, but then I had nothing for, and is a regen, so I don't know what I'm going to do with him. Because again, I am going to bring over the regens who have good stats, basically, and have been, like, consistent, and I'm going to get rid of a lot of the regens who just have crap stats and have done nothing in game to create space now that sort of we have the real life indie boom coming. Mark Johnson, ref. He's a ref. Matt Sydal had one of the better years. 43 up to 5960, which is good considering I didn't like super push him. Skill wise, again, great high flyer. Good star quality, but really that's about it. Honestly, that 62 psychology is probably about correct for 2006 Matt Sydal. But really strong, like some 50-50 booking, but been strongly pushed since winning the tag titles. And we'll see what he does on Nitro. Maverick Chance, of course, the real life Matt Cross, came in as our, X Greens athlete gimmick. Pop-wise, up to, again, same thing as like Jimmy Rave. Won the Cruiserweight title at Starrcade. Skill-wise, good aerial flashy. Honestly, just sort of a slightly worse version than Matt Sydal, which I'm sure he's heard in real life. But he's been strongly pushed, Oops. Where's our roster? Where are we? Ref. Prince Osai. Okay, so this Prince Osai, along with other low carders, is what I call the look at the problems WWE is currently having with 2-hour Raw. Look, I know. Everybody dislikes 3 hours of TV. But here's the reality. A 2-hour wrestling program is great when you just have a men's division. Or when you have a women's division and you're not really using it. Like, the only reason, Impact or TNA got away with it, because they did to the back all the time, which is why they had like even a decent one. Is like everything was frantic. But the problem is, you can do sort of like, if you have a women's division, a cruiserweight division, and a tag team division, you sort of have to like pick two, and the other one sort of drops away. Or I guess sort of like all three, and then plus a sort of like general lower card building up guys. Like you can have maybe 2 out of those 4, or like 2.5 one of those 4. And that's sort of what I'm doing right now. Is I have a good women's division, an okay tag division, an okay cruiserweight division, and a non-existent lower card, which hurts people like Prince Jose. Like he has decent stats, and he was being built up. But like sort of, if you look at his match history, getting that strong push, randomly won the tag title match, and I even was like doing a little mini feud with him in Gym Chain Wrestling, and then that was it. Like then had to have TV title match. Then he did jobs to sort of our top guys. Was part of that fatal 4-way open thing, and then that was that. Like I want to push him, but also like he has good stats, but also he doesn't stand out, unfortunately. Ray Gordy, on the other hand, like, again, I've explained this before. He's like weird, like, here it is. He was injured, so he's out for a year. And just before he was down in Dev. Basically, I was saying in kayfabe, getting rid of his rust, about to come back and feud with Jeff Jarrett. Because remember, he was the original part of the Chosen feud with, I think, Divine. But then he got injured. He was out for a year, so I was going to have him come back, attack Jarrett and Divine, and come as a hot babyface. And then he got injured for 6 more months. So he came back as part of Southern Syndicate. And, sort of since he returned, has been getting strongly pushed up to the mid-card, being part with Noble. Solid stats, like good acting, good star quality, good brawler. Maybe not will never be a top guy, but he can be a solid part of our mid-card. He still has another year. Oh, yeah. Prince Jose has 2 more years. Maverick Chance has another 2 years. So that was another year of change. So we'll see how that goes. And then, yeah, match history, oh, right. They had our test match, and then, basically been part of the tag division since then. Scott Hudson, announcer. Simply Johnny Divine. Again, one of those people who's got a stronger push in real life, in this version of reality than real life. Oh, yeah, and Gordy has, a year plus. So he has 3 months remaining, and, pop-wise, he is more over than you'd think. Mainly being around Jarrett. Again, being in the background of those 95 rated Jarrett promos helps somebody out. Skill-wise, he's actually pretty good, but, he's a lot like other people. He has no, stand-out skill. He's a perfectly good wrestler. That means he sort of gets stuck either as a tag team guy or as in the mid-card mush. So, again, he'll probably get another contract from me just because of the storyline, and we'll see what he does. Siaki, again, trying to push him as he was in real life. Talking in third person, the Brock ripoff gimmick is. The thing is, he's actually a pretty solid in-ring guy. Good psychology, good charisma, so he might actually get somewhere. I had him win the TV title, and that's sort of been a storyline since he won the TV title back in April, and we'll see if something builds out of this Matt Hardy stuff. 4 months remaining, so he'll get an upgrade on his contract. Teddy Hart, he's been, the really ironic thing is he's with Lexi James, so I can't really fire him, but also, Teddy, you've got 3 months left on your contract. Guess what? You're going bye-bye. You lost it. Jack Evans took your spot. The Prophet, who, of course, was the real-life indie guy, Chance Prophet, who got a lot better in our dev fed, has a good look, and good psychology, decent stats everywhere else, and has been part of the Nest, Prophet of Destruction, great gimmick. He'll be re-signed, but I don't know what else he's going to be doing. Tony Santarelli, of course, formerly Gym Chain Wrestling. We didn't re-sign Romy Rosselli, so then we now have his gimmick as, Jersey guy who's now getting tips from Kurt Angle, because why not? Still another year. He has some decent stats. He can probably become a solid mid-card guy, but probably not much more, unfortunately. Then Tony. Unfortunately, not that great of an announcer, which probably true. He's been sort of rated since he came into AEW. But, he's Tony, so he's going to be around forever. But let's move on to our lower card people. And this is where things get interesting. So, basically, these are people who I'm getting to push, people who I am not going to push, and people who are sort of stuck in the middle. So, Aries is somebody who I've tried to push, but again, time. Like, because he's not a cruiserweight, but I don't want to, like, give him, like, the super push and piss off people. So, he's sort of, like, been, like, stuck in second gear. You know, I mean, he's got a decent push, but I really need to do more to get him, you know, great. Like, you know, if we look at him since his debut, or not since his debut, because like he showed up. I sort of forget he's been part of the. He's been sort of like part of the show since last year, and he's never really gotten that push, which is interesting. What even was this Bound for Glory match, folks? Anyway. You know, I've tried to turn Perkeel. He was in the feud with Chavo Guerrero Jr., then Chavo got pissed I was jogging him to him, and now he's sort of pushed him over to, you know, going after the US title, and we'll see how that goes for him. You know, he's Austin Aries. He's solid, but he's not great yet. And we'll see if he turns into a weirdo like he is in real life. Brian Hebner, or Hebner's son, he's a ref. D. Malenko, not officially retired, but he's a pure jobber. You know, he showed up every month to do a job. And he's also old. He already retired in real life, and I'll probably re-sign him as a non-wrestler. Io Skipper has the same problem as Prince Osei. You know, he had his cruiserweight title run, and since then, like, he's really good, but he doesn't like stand out. So I don't honestly know what to do with him. Like, I'm being honest here. You know, he's a really good worker, but he doesn't break out. Great Suzuki, I signed him, then I figured out he can't work Sundays. I mean, like, he's great. He's Great Suzuki. Ironically, he was... I didn't realize this. This is hilarious. So, okay. Great Suzuki, in Big Japan, became with Nick and Lee, who's a referee. And then he caught him cheating with Kara Slice, a.k.a. Penny Grable, aka Cherry. Which is hilarious because if I remember, Great Suzuki, I think, had a adult video where he wore the mask, if I remember right. If not confusing with some other mask guy. So yeah, that's funny. But yeah, unfortunately he's great, and I would have probably had him out Cruiserweight title reign, but it doesn't work pay-per-views. So Johnny Ace, hopefully non-problematic in this reality. Decent road agent, you know. Johnny Swinger, one of those people who has been lost in the shuffle. Again, if I didn't have a women's division, he'd be getting consistent TV time. Good stall quality, really good psychology, which I guess sort of leads him to be a TNA producer, which he was in real life. But yeah, he's sort of like, you know, if other people are top star jobbers, he's our mid-card jobber. Or Job is the mid-card guy's jobber. Figueroa, regen, really good regen. So he came in like, you know, our version of the random sport pastor guy that WWE signs all the time. Keith Walker, I mean, oh right, keep on forgetting to go over people's like everybody else here. Ace will see. Yeah. Anyway, back to Keith Walker. Keith Walker is somebody who I'm probably going to let go, not because of anything that he's done, but just because I have nothing for him. Like, he's never been able to, like, build out. Like, he's great. Like, he's good, solid, but he's never had that pop for me. On the other hand, Kenzo, like, you know, him and Yang being the new version of Ninkyo should hopefully work well, and we're slowly, like, building him up. Hilarious. He and Hiroki divorced. In real life, Hiroki is now a politician over in Japan, which is interesting. If I remember, she's part of the Conservative Party, whatever. Mike Posey, he's a ref. Mike Sanders, he's not really a wrestler. He hasn't wrestled in years, but he has good color skills, or at least we're building up because he has good chemistry with Jerry Borash. Reckless Roberts, again, Reckless Youth, one of the indie guys of the time period. But honestly, I never really, like, he's really never had that moment. He doesn't have any good mic skills, Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to get over just purely in ring because he doesn't have that great in-ring skills. Also, never signed his ring contracts. He also works indies, which is hilarious. So yeah. Shannon Moore has a job because the Hardys and Shane Helms are here. John Stasiak literally got extended by Eric Bischoff. Terry Taylor, again, totally non-problematic guy, right? Wait, I'm hearing something. Oh, God. I mean, he's why the skipper isn't getting pushed. Trevor Slater, another guy who I gave a chance to, but I never really got that push. I might re-sign him just because he's a fun guy to have on the undercard. But again, not the greatest year for him, but we'll see what happens there. Xavier Creed, of course, like, he literally has less than a year. Like, I think, yeah, he debuted in June of 2005. Now he's on TV. So, long road for him. But yeah, brought him up. We had him do the sort of like John Cena gimmick of coming in for against a top guy or cruiserweight champion in our case. Still has a lot of room to build, but we'll see him build it up on TV. And then Shishiri, he's been a jobber. Like, I'll probably let him go, hopefully over to Japan, maybe to Impact, just because I feel bad for like pushing him like this. So, that's our undercard. And now it's time to look at the women. The women. So, reset. Female. And reception. We have no women major stars. Not surprised. Stars are 4 people unite my shock. So Angel Fox being a star is something kind of shocking, but she has a really good gimmick. As you can see, she had a really good Destiny stat, which means she might be no good. And pop-wise, I've kept her decently strongly pushed. And, again, just being on TV regularly also helped a lot of these girls. Skill-wise, again, Dev Territory helped all these women be a lot better than they were in real life. Good charisma, great acting. It's Angelina Love. Watch any Beautiful People entrance. Good psych. Match history-wise, she's had a fun year being part of Bond Ambition. As you can see, I'm sort of pushing her now. And the long-term goal here, you'll just have to watch and find out. Gail Kim, of course, just showed up on Nitro. 3 months left. We'll see if WCW or WWE or Impact go after her. I don't think so, but we'll see. Same thing here. Pop-wise, actually, had a little lower at the start of the year doing some jobs and now got built back up. Skill-wise, actually not like the top-tier worker or the obviously top women that she was in real life just because of, competition. But a solid, solid year, actually, despite doing jobs. Despite being, sort of pushed as having a bad year, she's 12-6. Johnny Lawler. So, here's the thing. This is the same thing I know with other people is, this version of Johnny Lawler never got deep into drugs, left WWE, was strongly pushed as Canyon's bodyguard for a year, being part of the women's division. So, but also, it's weird because she's never developed into a great worker. She has still a lot of stars, but also she's being paid $700,000 a month, and she has 2 years left. So I don't know what to do with her. As you can see, I show up, have her women's title, have her show up, beat heel ass, she'll have a match at Fall Brawl, that triple threat that I set up last week, and then I don't know what we do from there. Okay, spoiler, I actually do know, but then after that, I don't know. But, great, she's still, solid. Stacey Keebler, another success story. Stupidly over. 90s over. Star quality 8, 60 PL 100. Look. Most true stat of all time. Again, she ended up with George Clooney in real life. That is a 100 sex appeal stat. I'm sorry. Just to be crass here. Everything else is, actually realistic. She's not going to be an in-ring worker, but this KO thing, I realize in real life it's probably criticized, and probably now it would be criticized, but it works. Sometimes problematic stuff works. Well-knowns All right, so this is where things. Okay, so April Hunter, of course, has been Kidman's, as I put it so eloquently here, Kidman's side piece forever. She has no real good stats. Like, she has good charisma and good sex appeal, and that's it. She has 2 months left. She might be somebody I let go just for the sake of for letting her go. Celine Cartier, Lufisto, who of course is everybody's in the AW's women's locker rooms favorite wrestler. Again, like probably even better than she was in real life, which is still really good. Only downside is not that great charisma microphone, but her building up a turn heel. Match wise, strong here, especially near the end here as she's become women's champion in the heel turn. So, I have plans for the rest of the year, obviously. Lizzie Dumas, of course, the former Lita. She's slightly annoyed. Solid stats still. Like, obviously, she's not a top tier person because no dev fed time. And I've sort of came in as part of Captivation, got injured, then got turned on by Captivation, turned babyface, and then, basically was the reason for Celine Cartier's heel turn. Same thing here, popularity wise. So we track this, decent, where she's been the whole time. Nikita Galt. Again, a lot better than she was in real life. She has the legendary ice in her veins gimmick. And, 80 psychology, 88 sex appeal, 72 tech, 77 brawling, match history wise, sort of a mid-year, but basically, so she's 9-11, but once you take away, title matches, she is 4-9. So, sure, she's done some jobs since losing the title. Charmel, a lot more popular than I thought. Might let her go, sort of, just as part of the Booker angle. Obviously, she has gotten mainly over by being Booker's manager. Sex appeal, and that's about it. Which, honestly, maybe some charisma, but, Then we got Trisha Sky. So Trisha's interesting that she's only well-known here, which I will probably say is due to my sort of booking. Women's ace gimmick is legendary. Skill-wise, again, real life, really good. In this version of reality, not as good as the women who I had working in my dev fed for years. But still, great charisma. Again, sex appeal of 100, 92 star quality, so she can be rebuilt pretty well. And I have some plans for her for the rest of the year. Match history-wise, this is probably part of why she's well-known, is she's done 50-50 and some really big jobs. 2 losses to the world title, 2 Nikita, and for the tag titles, so it is what it is. Recognizable. So, of course, just lost the women's world title, Alyssa Alexander, the cheerleader Alyssa. Skill-wise, perfectly solid. Actually, again, like Il Kim, a good worker, but not the top-tier worker. She was in real life, just compared to other women. Match-wise, obviously won the title, been strongly pushed. Popularity-wise, again, strong push since she showed up on TV. Ironic that she finally lost some of her Southwest popularity by doing a job. But yeah, she'll be strongly pushed because she's young. She's only 24. Oh right, I keep on forgetting people's contracts. I will need to remember to do that. Okay, so back to well-knowns. Nikita has 4 months left. She will be re-signed. She'll be making a lot of money. And then, Trisha has 10 months left. I will be trying to re-sign her. Again, the real-life retirements, real life, would Trisha had retired if she was as part of a strong booked women's division? Nobody knows. Anyway, moving on. Allie Danger. Allison Carino, Allison Danger, however you want to push her. You could argue maybe our most well-rounded, woman. Good microphone skills, decent star quality. Sex appeal, that seems mean, but, sliding scale, I guess. But solid stats, not great anywhere, but still really good. Pop-wise, of course, since debuting, strong push up. Match history-wise, and then, match history-wise, strong push, especially afterwards, Annie Wetter, our interviewer, Annie Vidal, half of Social Scene. So, basically, we'll look over her match history. We'll skip her match history for the moment. She has another year left. Skill-wise, again, much more rounded than the... So, if you don't know, in real life, Annie Social was basically a random... I don't want to say former stripper, because I don't see her as actually a stripper, but, she was worked in that industry because she ended up on like the Naked Women's Wrestling League pay-per-views of the time period. But I signed her. She went to DevFed. She has a solid background. So, now she's Annie Vidal. And pop-wise, decently pushed. Still getting better. And so we'll just skip down to Nikki Ratcliffe. Nikki, of course, is the future real-life Nikki Rocks. Good psych. Again, somebody else who Allie is actually well-rounded. These skills, not so much. And, pop-wise, same thing. Strong push. Match history-wise, of course, 8-8, that 500 booking, I absolutely love. Penny Grable, of course, the former Cara Slice, came in as, like, sort of the traditional throwback gimmick. Skill-wise, again, I'm booking towards the character, not the stats, so you just have to trust me on that part. Pop-wise, of course, Sense, bring in, strongly pushed, especially weirdly in the Great Lakes, sure. Match history, Sense showing up to WCW. Some good stuff here. Got the women's title shot, and now member Captivation, but Captivation, I want to say, is being, like, held back a little bit, but is what it is. Raven Rain, of course, got over as Chuck Colombo's old lady. Has 3 months left, will be re-signed, but, like, stupidly over for what she's been done. Actually a pretty solid worker, but she's not been doing that, and we'll see if I ever, like, push her to do that. We've seen the music, of course. Honestly, you could argue the best actual in-ring worker, because look at those green stats, and honestly look at those other stats. Like, honestly, in a different world, maybe I actually book her as a top person. But yeah, I mean, again, part of European Induced Union, part of the tag scene. We'll see what she does next year. And now, Unimportant. Alright, so Ariel Emor, real life Ariel. Unfortunately, she has good stats, like Ariel to 84, Flashiness 85, 80 psych. But, like, she's not over really, and I haven't had the moment to really push her. Like, maybe next year will be, but I don't know. I just don't know. Like, Portuguese Project is actually a app name for her. Cookie is, is Becky Bayless, but also Tony Cinderelli's manager. Solid stats. Like, honestly, could push her a little more as just a manager, but we'll see. A lot of it is, aka Lacey. Again, decent stats. Not over at all. I've been using her as a jobber. Like, again, TV time. Even with the women, like, there comes a moment where we can't get everybody on TV. And women like her, Morgan, of course, is with the Nest. Getting decently pushed as sort of the background character. We'll see what she does. Now, Neidhart, ironically, like, the biggest star out of all these women in real life. Okay stats. Not that popular, despite actually being on TV the most, because she was the Hart Legacy manager for a while. And match history-wise, and now she's out for a year. So honestly, this might be the end of Natty's run. At least on our side. She might go over to WWF. ODB, of course, was signed, has gotten a decent push since she showed up near the end of she got brought up near the end of last year. And now the little, like, mini feud with Captivation. And we'll see what she does after, over the rest of the year. Missed stats, honestly. We'll see what she does. Ronnie Jonas will probably get pushed a little more because she has good stats. I just haven't created the right character for her and the right, like, sort of, like, thing hasn't clicked like it did with Cartier or Social Scene or other people. So like Lila Vivez, she's been a pure jobber. Then Tracy Roberts, who is Reckless Roberts' manager. So that's everybody on the main roster. Let me just make sure. Nobody to be decided? No. Okay. So that's the women. And now we move on for a look over our dev fed. And we will go by just dev roster as opposed to OVW or AWQ. So, our dev roster. First, the men. So, we start with Brett Major, aka the future, oh god. Which one is he? I forget. Is he Kurt Hawkins or is he Zack Ryder? Totally blanking. Regardless, Like, he has a long road to go. Like, good sex appeal, ironically. I guess he got Chelsea Green in theory, so yeah, for him. A good star quality, but everything else is a long, long road till he's enough to be on TV. Danielson, I mean, he'll be on TV sooner than you think. That's all I'm going to say. Let's move on. Chris, he's a ref. Elijah Burke, a guy who I signed because, he could build into something. That's all I'm going to say. Hotza Hernandez, I probably need to change his picture to his more mid-2000s picture. But again, somebody else who's being built slowly, and we'll see if he becomes the guy he was in real life. Kurt Stallings, a regen, an insane brawler, insane menace. I'm actually trying to find a better picture for him because this guy made sense when I first picked him, but maybe not now. I mean, not great charisma, but we'll see. We'll see. Lance Hoyt, Lance Archer, that guy. Good star quality, good star appeal, good menace. Nothing else yet, but also that could be real. Matt Morgan, he's Matt Morgan. Again, like Lance Hoyt. I mean, honestly, if I'm being honest, these are what I call signing so people like Macias, Goldberg, and other big guys have actual opponents, as real life wrestling sort of has less of those people. If I'm being honest. Paul Berto, who I signed as a lark, he's pretty good over on the UK. Pretty good star quality. We'll see, how he builds up in a big wild side. Raleigh Dirte, another, he was our power plant trainee. Decent stats, so we'll see if he ever actually gets over. Ricky Steamboat, our unofficial booker guy down in Wildside. Sanjay Dutt, again, signed by me because I want to build up the Cruiserweight division. We'll see how he builds up in our Dev Fed. G.A. Perkins, another guy, another totally unproblematic person in this timeline, right? Then Tony Jones, who unfortunately is probably going to be somebody who I kept on a dev contract and never bring up because he never got good enough to get signed up, unfortunately. So that's the male side. And then we have the female side, which is going to be a lot more interesting, I think. Okay, so Amazing Kong. I'm going to be honest here. I had an idea for her, but then I didn't have space. Now I have a new idea for her, which you might see soon. Annette Blanchard is a regen. Let's say a version of Tessa Blanchard, who's not a massive racist, hopefully. Good charisma, good microphone, good sex appeal, decent star quality. We'll see if she builds into something. Ashley Lane, the future Madison Rain, right? Yeah. Still, good sex appeal, good star quality, being built up and everything else. Carla Chambers, another regen, great star quality, met everything else, so she's being trained. Catherine Mendoza, same thing, good star quality, good sex appeal, built up and everything else. Emi Sakura, poor Emi, as in real life, sort of being forgotten about. The problem is, again, I'm being realistic. Even a mid-2000s WCW crowd who learned to, enjoy women's wrestling for more than, TNA, I don't mean the Knockouts division, would unfortunately never really buy into a Joshi at this time. I have an idea, but it's not going to be with her. Josie, oh god, I forget who she eventually turned into. But, signee, we'll see if she gets good enough. Madison Eagles, who, of course, debuted unofficially, but she's being brought up as a partner of Allison Danger. Madison Sinclair, okay, right, I forgot to go over contracts. Kong is out soon enough. Let's see here. Yeah. Madison Sinclair is interesting because, she has decent stats, but she's never broken out. And honestly, sometimes this is just how it crumbles. Her picture sucks. So I don't want to bring her up. I hate saying it, but that's half the reason I've never brought her up. Also, I don't, at least with, sometimes with pictures of people you don't know, you can sort of get the character. Yeah, I've, never really seen much of, Nikita / Winter in TNA, but, you get her look, and you get her character, and you sort of know how you can push. Malia Osaka, who's been our trainer forever, who's absolutely fantastic, and who I might have something to do in the next few months. So she might stop yelling at me and be upset that she's down here. Michelle McCool, who in this version of reality will never marry The Undertaker. Good acting, good star quality, good charisma. Everything else is slowly being built up. Portia Perez, she's 18, so she's been back on the main roster for a while, but she's insanely good. well, not insanely good, but she's really good for this like level of talent. Sarah Del Rey recently. So this is a version where Sarah Del Rey is not like the best women's wrestler in the world already. So we'll just see how she does in Developmental. Tracy Taylor was sort of like on the outskirts, like she was in, I think, OVW for a while, or Deep South. And she also was an indie wrestler. I believe she has a husband who was a long-time indie worker, but I totally forget. But she has decent stats, so gave her a shot. And Tanisha Biggers, who I think will eventually be Raka Khan. We'll see if she becomes something. And also, maybe her angle should not be on the main show in this reality, on the same show in this reality. Just, in case. So, you know how I said this video is going to be going over everything as far as WCW and the rest of the world? Not so much, because this is an hour and a half and change. So what we're going to do is, this is going to be the WCW video. Then, on Monday, I'm going to have a rest of the world video. And actually, I might... I'm thinking about doing basically a Q&A on the Fantasy Booker subreddit, to see if people have any questions about this long-term save is changing things over. It might humiliate me as I get no responses. So if you've gotten this long and you either like to ask some questions in the comments or on Reddit, if I post it, I might also post a Q&A thread on the community tab. If I do that, I'll do that on Monday with the rest of the world tab. And yeah, we'll go from there. But anyway, that's for now. If you guys go and give a like, comment below. Of course, for our channel for the end of the TEW 20 run over TEW 9. But that's all for now, so talk later, and adios. Have a good one.